Hi everyone, this video should have come out a week ago at the very least. As you can tell from my voice, I am struggling to speak because I'm still recovering from a pretty harsh, I don't know what. I mean, it's been a dry cough, it's been persistent, and I've not been able to sleep. I'm feeling so much of strain around my chest and my tummy muscles. Chances are some of you have probably also gone through this because I've been hearing lots of people are either having COVID, which by the way, I had it for the first time in the early December. So it's just been one of those years where the ending and the rounding off of a year has not been the best, which meant that I couldn't really do the stuff that I normally do, which is to reflect back on my year before I step into a new year. So if you, like me, have been having a bit of a rough time, in the recent weeks or recent months, and like me, you do want to do a little bit of a wrap up or tie up of the last year, put it aside, and then step into the year, well, hey, we are just at the first 10 days of the month. The important thing is that we do it. So if you're ready, I'm going to share with you 5 questions that I like to ask myself. Just 5 questions. And, just doing something like this is a great way to just take stock, celebrate, and just remember some of the good stuff from 2023 and think about what are some of the things that you want to keep and what are the things that you want to get rid of. So let's get to it. Hi everyone, my name is Roshini or Rosh, and this is The Right Response with Rosh. The reason why I created this YouTube channel is because I never know how to respond to people and events and situations myself. Sometimes I get it right, but more often than not, I wish I could have done things differently. And so this YouTube channel allows me to get better by, sharing with you some of the wisdom of people I know, people I read, some of those wiser people that's out there speaking and talking about, what are the better ways of being who we are, right? It's about creating better versions of ourselves. So before I share with you the 5 questions that I think are really, really important to just round off the last year before you step into the new year, again, these questions are a compilation of some of the top questions that I have learned from other people who are so much more wiser than me. And I think a way of responding to a year end or a year beginning is important. Now, having said that, some of you I know have had really tough years. Even as I came into the new year, as bad as I have had it, health-wise, really it doesn't compare to some of the things that some of you are having to deal with. Some of you are getting news that, you have a loved one that is critically ill, terminally ill. Some of you are getting not so great news about your health. I know some of you have, found out that your roles are redundant. There's just a lot of stuff going on out there. And if you're not ready to do this, that's okay as well. But I'm hoping that this video is something that you can come to later when you feel a little bit more ready to do a bit of a stock take. Because some of the questions I'm asking here are questions that we can ask anytime and you can change it up. Okay? Before I share my 5 questions, I will be putting 5 questions that maybe you can do for work. The 5 questions I'm going to share are more for generic, for generally speaking. In my next video, I do want to share with you 5 things that you need to consider to make sure you have a really great year ahead. So before we start with the questions, here's what I want you to do. Grab a pen, grab a paper. If you have a journal, you can use your journal to capture some of the responses to the questions. And make sure you have your computer or your calendar in front of you, because sometimes, looking through the calendar and sometimes the emails, can help remind you of some of the events that, it's amazing how we forget, right? So, are you ready for the first question? First question is, what are your biggest achievements for 2023 and achievements that you are most proud of? It's amazing how much we have actually done and completed. Maybe, we've started something and it's still ongoing and you're still excited about it. It could be achievements around your job. It could be achievements around relationships. Maybe relationships you've managed to heal. For me, for example, there have been many different things that I am very proud of. I mean, starting this YouTube channel is one of them for sure. And being able to ask the president of Singapore a question in public, in front of hundreds of people, that was a biggie for me, right? So what's the second question that you should ask yourself? The second question is, what were the biggest lessons that you learned from? Challenges that come our way are great teachers, right? Sometimes the challenge, may teach you something about yourself. It may teach you about something about the people that you work with. So lessons can come from so many different angles. So for me, there were quite a few lessons. One of the lessons I learned, which actually resulted in me creating this YouTube video, was that, I still haven't learned how to manage the tone of my voice. I still haven't learned how to respond in a better way. And it was something that happened with my son. We were having a conversation and my voice started, getting louder and my tone started getting harsher. And he had to turn around and say to me, Mommy, you don't have to use that tone of voice. Why are you reacting? Because this is not something that's worth reacting to. And I remember pausing, and I was really, for a change, instead of getting angrier, I realized he was right. And, sometimes the wisdom and the lessons learned can come from people whom you don't normally think are going to be teachers. So question number 3 is, what relationships brought you joy and fulfillment? So, it could be relationships that are new. It could be relationships that were broken and been fixed now. It could be existing relationships. But people connections are so important. I read somewhere that your level of happiness and your ability to be joyful in life has a lot to do with the connections that you have. So nurturing, building on relationships, and if you've done a great job at a relationship, then let's celebrate that. Hopefully it's more than just one relationship, but do take some time to think about that. Question number 4 is, when and where did I step out of my comfort zones? They say growth happens when we embrace discomfort. So I want you to reflect on the moments you pushed yourself and took some risks, and embrace the times that you tried something new. So I had a coach a few years ago. His name is Thaddeus Lawrence, wonderful coach. And he told me that one of the things that he does for himself every year is to find something totally out of his comfort zone, like doing pottery, for example, right? And just trying something new. For me, it was, all around video editing and how to create layovers and adding music. So, I'd done simple editing before, but really putting myself through a course to learn how to do this made me realize that even at 57 years old, you can learn new tricks, and that's been a real source of joy for me. So here's my final question number 5, which is, what is it from 2023 that you want to keep? And what is it that you want to lose or let go, right? Now, it could be beliefs and habits that you've introduced into your life. For me, it is definitely having my wonderful personal coach as a trainer. I am someone that, is so disciplined in so many areas of my life. But when it comes to exercising, for some reason, I just don't have the motivation to do it on my own. So having a personal trainer has really helped. So she's definitely staying in my 2024, right? So that's what I want to bring in. In terms of what I want to stop, there's this horrible habit that I've started getting into, and this has to do with TikTok and watching lots of shorts just before I go to bed. Now, there's nothing wrong with watching TikTok. There's nothing wrong with watching YouTube shorts. But when you're doing it, too much of it just before you go to bed, then it affects your sleep. It affects the time you go to sleep and the quality of the sleep that you have. So for me, those are things that some of the things that I want to keep, and one of the things that I definitely want to let go. Okay? So it's over to you now. Take some time. As you watch this video, I don't know if you watched it, paused, and then answered the question before you moved on to the next one. That's probably the best way to do it. But, you can also just listen to the question, write it down. I like doing this with my family usually, but this year, because of the rough start I've had and because it's all been so disjointed, I did it on my own. I just sat on my balcony and I had a cup of tea and I just answered the questions as I looked out. For some of you, if you prefer to do it with your family members or your friends, you can choose to do that. And you can even record yourself doing this and have it archived somewhere so you can look at it at the end of the year. So in my next video, I want to share with you 5 things that I think will really help you have a great and fabulous 2024. And 3 out of the 5 things are tools that I learned from people that I absolutely adore, and I want to share them with you. So with that, if you liked the content of this video, please do subscribe to the video and share it with your friends, because maybe they too, like some of us, have not had a chance to totally wrap up 2023, and we've got a weekend coming up. What better way to spend the weekend just doing a little bit of this before we think about 2024. See ya.